Well, hello friends. Welcome back to Paula's Kitchen. We are at episode 9 already, and for those of you keeping track, it is time for a sweet, not a dessert. We are going to make a cookie, a famous cookie actually. How many of you have ever been to a DoubleTree by Hilton hotel, checked in, and been handed a delicious warm chocolate chip cookie? Well, a week ago, Hilton released the recipe for that cookie, and I am so excited. I jumped all over it. I want to make it for you. So let's get looking at the ingredients, and there's some unusual ones for a chocolate chip cookie. You've got the typical dry ingredients. You've got flour, salt, soda. We're going to use a pinch of cinnamon. We're going to use butter, eggs, 2 kinds of sugar, brown sugar and white sugar. We're going to add chocolate chips and walnuts, and then a couple of surprise ingredients. We're going to add oats, and we're also going to use a little bit of lemon juice. So I am intrigued to see how these flavors all blend together in their unique signature chocolate chip cookie. Let's get started on this one. All right, off camera, I measured out my dry ingredients and I just stirred them into a bowl to get things going. So the first thing I added was 2 1/4 cups of regular all-purpose flour. Then I added a 1/2 cup of oatmeal. I added 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of soda, and it called for a pinch of cinnamon. So I used my little set of spoons from Mia, and a pinch is apparently 1/16 of a teaspoon. So I threw that in and I stirred all that together. I have turned on my oven, and it calls for a temperature of 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fairly low for a chocolate chip cookie, and that's probably why they end up so soft. So I'm really intrigued by all of this. All right, I have a couple more prep things to do. Let me set the dry ingredients aside. It calls for 1 3/4 cups of chopped walnuts. You guys might have seen my little personal by hand chopper, so I'll just do a little bit of this. I don't have a fancy Cuisinart or KitchenAid or anything, but basically it just runs on human power. So there's my fresh walnuts. Those are ready. And then the other thing I'm going to need, it calls for just a little bit of fresh lemon juice. So I'm not going to need much. Let me just squeeze this lemon a little bit. I'm just going to cut 1/4 of the lemon so that I can quickly squeeze out a little bit of juice when I'm ready. All right, that's my prep. Let me get the butter and sugars, and we're going to turn on the mixer here in a minute. We are ready to turn on the mixer and get going creaming butter and sugars. But hey, before I do, I want to do a quick shout out. Sandra Bravo, we know that you just had bypass surgery, you're recovering, and Dale and I just want to say we can't wait to welcome you back to Las Vegas. So Sandra, get well soon so you can come visit. All right, we're going to start with our creaming. I need a 1/2 pound of butter or 2 sticks. So I had these on my countertop softening up today, so these are at room temperature. We get those in first, and then it calls for 3/4 of a cup plus a tablespoon of sugar, which I find interesting. That's pretty precise. So let me get my mixer going and we'll drop the sugar in. Now when you're doing this, you are not going to turn the mixer off in between steps, but I want to make sure you hear me. So the next step is I'm going to add 3/4 cup of packed light brown sugar. So let me crumble that in there as well. And I'm going to beat the sugars and butter together for a total of 2 minutes. Scraping down the bowl as I go. Let me get this back on. So I ran the mixer for 2 minutes and I scraped down the sides to get the sugars all mixed in. Now next I'm going to add my wet ingredients, and that is the 2 eggs. I need 1 1/4 teaspoons of vanilla, and I'm going to need just 1/4 teaspoon of the fresh lemon juice. So I'm going to turn my mixer back on and crack the eggs in here. Add my 1 1/4 of the vanilla. There's 1. And there's 1/4. And the last wet ingredient is 1/4 teaspoon of lemon. So I'm just going to squeeze this on the fly. There we go. All right, let me scrape this down. Now this has to beat for another 2 minutes. So let me get this all light and fluffy. A couple minutes have gone by. I've been scraping down the bowl. So I think I'm going to move on to the next step, which is to turn the mixer down to low and gradually add the dry ingredients to the bowl. And this is a mix for 45 seconds only, so this is a very quick mix, probably, so it doesn't get too tough. So it's starting to blend a little bit, and I am going to turn the mixer off at this point, and I'm going to finish it by hand. Whew, glad to shut that off, huh? Let me lift this up. I'm going to clean my beaters for a minute, and then we're going to continue with the dough. I moved the mixer aside, and I've got my cookie dough ready for the final 2 most important ingredients, and that is going to be the chocolate chips and the nuts. So let me first of all open my big bag of chocolate chips. I need 2 2/3 cups. That is pretty generous. I'm a nut for semi-sweet chocolate, so if you guys weren't here, I'd be eating some of these. That's 2, or 1, I'm sorry. Oh, these are super fresh. That's 2. And then 2/3. No wonder we all love these. Look at the number of chips in this. All right, and then the walnuts that we ground earlier. 1 3/4 cup of those. And it is a stir by hand situation to get all of this mixed together. I'll tell you what, I make a lot of chocolate chips in my day because our son loves them. But I've never made anything this creative, and I'm really excited about seeing these as the final product. Meanwhile, as I stir these, let me do a birthday shout out. We have our friend Ruth over in Long Beach who had a birthday on May 30th, and Howie notified us about it. Too late to tell you on their 30th on your birthday, but happy belated birthday, Ruth. All right, I'm gonna put some muscle behind this. Bring this up from the bottom. Make sure I've got all the walnuts mixed in. And oh my gosh, this dough is amazing. This recipe, according to the Hilton, it's actually a video Hilton provided, but I also typed up the recipe, and I'll put it in the description box as well as a link to the video. But they say this makes 26 cookies. This is a lot of dough for 26 cookies, so I think they're going to be really big. All right, stick with me. I'm going to go get a cookie sheet, and we are going to go to the next step, which is putting these out for baking. So I have my best stainless steel cookie sheet handy, and I need to line it with a piece of parchment paper. So let me get that going. Parchment paper is definitely one of the great cook's helpers. All right, now, stay there for a minute. The directions tell me to use a 3 tablespoon scoop. So this is my ice cream scoop. I measured, it's a little bit bigger than 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to scoop out the dough, but not quite fill it. So let's put put this on the overhead so you can see what I'm doing. Like about so. That looks like 3 tablespoons. And we are supposed to drop them on the cookie sheet about 2 inches apart. So that means I can get about 3 of them across on my cookie sheet. Oh, I dropped one of the chocolate chips on the floor. All right, then you just smush them a little bit with your hand. Like so. I am so excited about this. Let me do another row. I don't want to get in the way of my cameraman capturing all the action. So I'll just do a few more of these. I can see why with all this dough, you might only end up with 26 cookies, huh? Looks like I might be able to get a dozen on this cookie sheet. All right, let me get that out of the way and drop this last one. Smush them a little bit. Let me fill this cookie sheet and we'll put them in the oven in just a couple minutes. That was fun, I admit it. I actually kind of love the hands-on aspect of this, and I am so excited to put these in the oven. So my hands are yucky. Give me a second, be right back. Clean hands. All right, let me get my pan ready to plop in the oven. These bake at 300 degrees for 20 to 23 minutes. I am so excited to see what they are going to look like. They're supposed to be light brown on the edges and still soft in the middle. So I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes and I'll check them right then. My 20-minute baking timer just went off, but I made extra big cookies and I don't think they're done. I want to take a quick peek. Oh my Lord, they're humongous. No, they're not done. So I'm going to go for the 23 minutes on the bake. You can see why you need to put them 2 inches apart, can't you? And I went ahead and made the rest of the cookies. They're here on my other cookie sheet ready to be thrown in the oven when these come out. And my yield, because I use such a big scoop, that's my ice cream scoop, I'm going to end up with 20 cookies. These are kind of the size you get at the mall, at the bake shop. I'm a fan, and you wouldn't believe how that pinch of cinnamon has changed the smell of these cookies as they're baking. We're big fans of the smell. Hey, while I'm waiting, let me do a birthday shout out. Michael over in New Hampshire is having the big 4-0, actually tomorrow on June 4th. Tabitha, Mikey, and McKenzie, nice name, all wish you a happy birthday, as do we, Michael. All right, we are going to come back in about 3 minutes and we're going to check this again. All right, it's been about a half hour. I think my cookies were so big and this is such a low bake on the oven, 300 degrees, that it took this long, but I'm looking for a light golden color and I think we have achieved it. So let me grab these guys. I cannot believe the size of them. Oh my gosh, look at the size of them. Let me throw these in the oven, get them going. All right, so these are to cool on the parchment paper for 1 hour before we touch them. So we are going to let them cool for a little bit. We'll finish the other pan of cookies and we'll be back for a taste test. A little bit of time has gone by. The cookies have cooled, and since they're so big, I actually cut them in half, or one of them in half, so that we can taste it.
They're huge.
I feel absolutely like, you know, it's a cookie you buy in the airport or something like that.
Oh.
I can't wait to try it.
Oh.
Wow, they taste great. Hard to do on camera.
It tastes like we're at the hotel.
Trust me, they taste great. Wow.
Oh, they are really good.
I'm a big fan.
Best to eat these fresh.
You're supposed to eat them warm.
I fell asleep.
He did, so we waited a while.
After we filmed, I fell asleep, so they're not quite as out of the oven fresh, but
But the cinnamon and the walnuts just elevate the cookie. Really? Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
They really have a wonderful flavor. So I'm going to wrap those individually, and we are going to enjoy cookies. whenever we have a taste for
Yeah.
one.
Now, this might be the last Paula's Kitchen for just a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're not sure how it's going to go. Like we told you in Sunday's video, we're going to see how June goes with regard to trying to approach normal. So, but you'll see more of us soon. It's a guarantee.
Okay, hope you had a good time. We'll see you next time, guys.
Make some cookies.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.